Don't roll it till we're live and stuff.
Oh. I need to be out as soon as possible after outros, by the way. I have an appointment in King of Prussia.
Okay.
Hold on.
Hold up. Boy. Gonna rock the roof, come on.
The Portland hipsters coming in.
The Portland hipster. Who's that?
The Portland hipsters.
All of them.
He's using a collective derogatory statement.
Got it.
Live on everything.
You're on everything. Lovely. Hi, guys. We're coming in. Send it at him.
Aggie crafts. Who the heck is that? The history of the Gallic lands is one of struggle, punctuated by moments of sheer brilliance.
Tartan is Scotland's gift to the world, and it is your personal heritage story. Howdy, boys and girls. Welcome to Kilts of Culture. I'm Rocky. That's Eric.
Walgun Yoman.
Yeah, man. Irie.
Yaman.
You know what would be
Walgun.
especially Irie is me filling this fine whiskey here from the scratch. This is Edward's Own whiskey from our friend Aaron Peabody. He is excited about an announcement that we may have today. We're going to have today of our Pacific Northwest Tartan, PNW Tartan. Going to be airing it live during the show, having a little chit chat about it. And in honor of that, he sent us some whiskey from the PNWs. So
Yep.
very good on you. Indeed. So that's Aaron Peabody sent that. So I think I said that. Yes. All right. Well, don't come over here yet, Mac. I gotta pour the thing first.
Patience.
So, yes.
Patience.
Unfold from back here.
Okay.
Yeah, we do have extra. I'm gonna just kick everything down here.
What was you saying about you're going to be fine? You're not too tired to do the show?
I didn't spill anything on the kilt. He says, jinxing himself right in front of everyone. All right, Mac, come on over and collect your whiskey as soon as you're able and want to. Yeah, don't kick all the wires out or spill whiskey like someone.
Yeah, like.
All right. Yeah. So what do you have on there, Mr. Mac?
Oh, I've got the Stewart of Appin hunting weathered on.
Stewart of Appin hunting weathered. That looks very nice. Beautiful. Very good. Eric, what do you have on today?
I was kind of in a punky mood, so I'm just wearing scruffy walls today.
Mod-esque. Very good.
I'm always mod-esque.
Yes, indeed. And today I am rocking the, for now.
I was going to say,
for now, I'm wearing the Stewart Old Weathered Tartan.
Which is gorgeous.
Thank you.
This is one of my favorites of yours.
Yeah, well, it wasn't mine, but I made it exist. Yes. I did.
Not
yeah,
that you
of the, my
kilts
kilt.
that you own.
Got it. Okay, I was trying to make sure I wasn't taking credit. I did not design the tartan. All right, so, shutting up. All right, Mac.
Shut up.
While you're over there with the
shut up.
tasting notes and whatnots.
All right.
What do we got?
So what do we got in the nose? Well, according to our notes here, we have a floral vanilla. We have a sweet multi-grain dinner roll. We've got honey butter. We've got sweet sprouted grains and white chocolate.
I think somebody was hungry.
I'm getting like a sweet corn kind of smell on it.
And that might be the honey butter that they're referring to on that warm,
definitely
sweet multi-grain dinner roll.
Yes, monsieur, these are complimentary. Before your salmon arrives, it is being smoked even as we speak.
Indeed, quite. All right. So, got my dinner roll. I'm going to chew this whiskey now.
It is very opaque. I was going to say, we know that it's
very cloudy.
Very cloudy. Yeah.
Yeah. Super duper cloudy.
Super cloudy.
Like Portland herself.
Oh,
Cloudy.
they did it on purpose.
Like the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah,
and the
Washington.
Mist, the fog.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or Edmonds.
Yeah.
Edmonds.
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
So,
Plunge.
shutting up.
So the notes we have on the taste, a bit on the sweet side, buttery, soft, sweet milk bread.
Milk bread?
Milk bread.
It's one of those-
Definitely sweet.
It is, and it is chewy. You get the bread thing. There's almost reminds me of like a yeasty beer.
Yeah.
Kind of a vibe to it.
Yeah. I'm gonna. All right, I got some tasting notes up there, or something. I'm gonna pour a tiny bit of water in it just to see what happens. It's a little peppery.
There's
not too bad.
A little peppery.
And they're saying the finish is grainy sweetness that lingers, light heat, fruity grain bitter, light floral caramel, and milk bread.
So again with the bread. And
Yeah,
again
a
with
lot
the
of
bread.
bread.
And again with the bread.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not a whiskey, like American whiskey bourbon type guy. I'm more of a Scotch whiskey guy.
Does not make me think of a Southern bourbon, though.
No. It's too sweet.
It's very sweet.
It's like, it's dry, if that makes sense. Like the sides of my mouth and like tasting it.
Okay. I see where you're
like
going with that.
Have a bitter tinge on the edges.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like it feels like dry in the mouth, like a dry wine kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. That's usually tannins.
Yeah.
They're doing that.
How you feeling about it, Mac? Any insight?
I don't know. I don't mind it because I'm more on the sweeter side of things.
Mm-hmm.
In general.
Yes, you are. Toast dwarves, Mac.
But I don't know. Reading the notes and kind of having an idea in my head of what I thought it was going to be is different than what it is.
Yeah.
It almost more of a dessert, like caramelly thing is where I'm kind of leaning, like honey caramel.
Okay. I get a little bit of the honey caramel thing.
Maybe.
Not a lot. I just get like a generic sweetness.
Yeah, it's not.
And I definitely like this is, I don't know if this sounds weird or not. I taste the grains. Like it tastes grainy. Not like texture grainy, but like
bread.
Yeah.
I think it has to do with how cloudy
Milk
it is.
bread, perhaps.
I really think that there's grain in solution in that or something. I mean, it looks...
Okay.
Yeah, this doesn't really help anybody who's watching. I mean, I see it. You can't really see it on camera.
It's right there. I see it. Can't you see it?
I sees it.
Yeah. Here, actually, hold on. Let me put white behind it. Like...
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very...
Exhibit A.
Yeah, it's very cloudy. The...
Kind of like a nice, sweet dinner roll.
Yeah. Milk bread.
Milk
dinner
bread.
rolls.
It's the Texas Roadhouse rolls with the butter.
Yeah, but it doesn't have the cinnamon
Yeah.
Texas Roadhouse has. Texas Roadhouse got that good cinnamon butter. Yeah. Now, oh man, I'm gonna get hungry. There's a question we got too. It's something about food. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get hungry during the show. All right, Mac. You want to rate this scale of 1 to 10? What do you give it?
I'm going. I think I'm gonna go 6, 8.
Okay, that makes sense for you.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Okay, Eric.
4.9. I'm not digging it. I don't find it has much of a distinct flavor at all. It's a little bitter. It definitely is sweet. I am picking up a little bit of the almost a mapley kind of a aftertaste.
Yeah. The water helped it
kind of
for
a
me.
sweet, a little bit. Yeah. But there's a sweet aftertaste. It's kind of a very light tobacco smoke, but mostly kind of a mapley sweetness on the very back. But I don't like it in the middle. It's, I don't know.
Okay.
Not thrilled. Sorry.
Understood. I'll say I will. The more I'm thinking about it, the more I'm giving it a little bit, boosting up the score for complexity, because it's a little bit more complex, I think, than I'm giving it credit for.
Are you saying I am unrefined, sir?
No. I'm saying like the tobacco. I don't get the smoke, but I get a little bit of tobacco. I get a little bit of the
flavor,
the sweetness-esque. I get a little bit of the grain. It's not real spicy. It's not like don't got that going on. So I'm gonna normally I think I would give something like this closer to a 4.5 or so. I'm gonna bump it up to a 5.2. I'm thinking the complexity gives it a little bit.
Great.
Well, if 5 is kind of like meh, it's average, it's fine, kind of thing.
Looking at their website, it does seem like they're more to the mixes and like gin seems to be where they started with. So they're more into
playing with it.
What is it going to turn? What are you going to add?
Turn it into? Got it.
So
see, 20 years from now, when all this sediment has settled to the bottom of the bottle, it'll be choice.
Okay. All right. Very good. So that's our scores. Cheers. All right, boys and girls, as always, we are but your humble servants here to answer whatever questions you have for us, kilts or culture related. So please load them in the comments down below there, wherever the hell the comments
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, and while we're waiting for you to load comments.
I think from our view, they'd be over here.
Sure. While we're waiting for you to load comments.
Comments.
That's a lot of comments right over
Whoa. What? I can't believe
remember,
you said that.
Middle of the show, or sometime in the show, I shouldn't have said that. Sometime during the show, may or may not be the middle, who knows? We are going to release the Kraken. Get it? Pacific Northwest Kraken. There you go.
What?
The Kraken.
Krakens have nothing to do with
It's the Seattle hockey team, the Kraken.
Oh, okay, sorry.
They're from the Pacific Northwest. See, Eric, Seattle is in a region of the United States called the Pacific Northwest. It's up in the upper
Yeah,
left
okay. See,
hand
you
corner.
said release the Kraken, and the first thought I had was this is about you changing your kilt and some
No.
kind of... Okay.
No. Oh, no. I'm not that
Gotcha.
untoward. No. All right. So, anyway.
How about a question, Rocky?
Yeah, Eric, ask a question.
Let's get down to business here.
Indeed.
Okay. Brett Short, hi Brett, said, I've been invited to a wedding which is taking place in a museum of fine arts. The invitation states black tie optional. So my first thought was, I'm wearing my formal kilt with Prince Charlie jacket and vest. However, I do not want to look like I'm trying to upstage the bride and groom since it's their day. He just doesn't want to be ungentlemanly like that. Mm-hmm. I think my friend the groom would actually be excited to see my formal kilt outfit, but I'm not so sure about his bride or either of the families. And I would have no hesitation wearing it myself, but I'm also struggling with what's appropriate, and I'm also wondering how it would look if I bring along a +1 who likely would not wear coordinating attire.
Okay.
So that's a lot to unpack.
It is. Okay, so going to a wedding, invitation states, black and white, right there on the
Black
invitation,
tie.
black tie affair.
Optional.
Optional.
Black tie optional.
Black tie optional. So I would say this. You're safer than most because it says right there. If the bride to be or the groom, who's your buddy, didn't want people to get super duper fancy, then they wouldn't put black tie optional. It's at where is it at?
Some kind of fine arts museum.
Fine arts museum. Okay, so that again, leans itself towards a little so a little extra dudded up for the eve kind of thing. Did he say what time?
He did not say. You just made me realize. Yeah, it does not say what time the wedding is, but
okay, if it's a
definitely
little bit later,
indoors.
yeah,
But it's
and if
indoors,
it's a
so
reception later in the evening or afternoon at least. I'd say if you're concerned about wearing it for showing up the bride and groom, I'd ask your buddy, the groom, hey, I have a formal kilt outfit. Would you mind if I wore that to the wedding? Is it okay with you and the bride? I don't want to upstage you guys, or I don't want you to think that I'm trying to upstage you. Don't make it a threat. I don't want to upstage you. So I'd say check, if anything, check with that. But frankly speaking, they put on the invitation black tie, so black tie is appropriate. What are your thoughts?
they gave him the option. I don't know. I mean, I do the day versus evening thing is an interesting factor. I'd be more likely to go super formal if it's evening, like we always say. Personally, me, for being in the wedding part, not the party, but in the audience, as it were, I'd feel a little bit overmuch with a Prince Charlie, even though we know that is black tie. I think just as often people wind up using an Argyle with the silver buttons as black tie, and I'd personally probably go that direction, so at least it's a little more,
A little toned down.
little tiny bit toned down in context. But
Would you wear a straight tie with an Argyle?
I'd still do a bow
or
tie. No, black tie. It has to be a bow tie.
But it doesn't have to be a black tie.
I think it should be
That's
black.
fine.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I kind of wonder what is the likelihood that other people are going to take this part of the invitation seriously. I mean, if you know the crowd and you know they're going to be very seriously, then yeah, go for it. I think the +1 is probably the part that I'd be worried about.
Before we get off the crowd, because I want to go to the +1 too, or the other people there.
Yeah.
I'd say if if you think that a lot of the friends and family members are going, like if it's a family of doctors and lawyers and you think they're all going to get dressed up in tuxedos and stuff like that, and we kind of thought about, what is the meaning of black tie optional? Is it black tie optional because they're basically trying to say dress up as nice as you can, so suit or tuxedo, but giving kind of a little bit of leeway if people don't have money to spring for a tuxedo, then at least they can wear a nice suit or something like that.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, but there are members of doctors, lawyers, and that kind of thing in the family, then yeah, they'll probably dress up, to the nines, so to speak. So I'd say it's probably safe for you to do it. I like your suggestion of if you're a little nervous and you happen to have an argyle as well, maybe pull out the argyle to tone it down a touch without going too far off.
Yeah, you're still going to be the belle of the ball because you're wearing a kilt.
Yeah.
And unless you know for a fact that there's other people who are going to be kilted at this thing, you could still be the one kilted guy there, which means, of course, you're on display no matter what.
Yeah. Wearing a kilt, you are going to be the peacock in the room. Attention will go to you. So you're by default.
Yeah.
Going to be that. Whether you're wearing a tweed jacket and vest or a Prince Charlie or anything in between, you're going to get more attention because of what you are wearing.
Right. But if you're not wearing, like a Sheriff Muir with a jabot or something, then I don't think you're going to look over the top.
So what are your thoughts on the +1 for this gentleman?
I don't know if there are different guidelines are being given out for the ladies or anything like that. I doubt it. The invitation is probably just meant for everybody. Black tie optional, and the time of the day will probably be the guideline for the guest that he's bringing as to what she should wear, assuming it's a she. I think you can match a level of not necessarily formality, but elegance with your date, and that's fine. They don't have to be in something that looks Highland or Scottish or Celtic in any way, really, just to be at the same tonal level. So yeah, a proper an evening gown is going to be what's called for, I would guess, for them. Possibly an LBD, but
little black dress for those in the know.
Yeah, I mean that's usually more of a cocktail thing. I think it's for a wedding you don't really go with an LBD, but
something a little bit more elegant. I wouldn't do a sundress.
No.
If you're formal, in a Prince Charlie jacket and vest, and she's in a sundress, again, assuming then it's a bit off. But if she doesn't have to wear, like you said, Highland dress, just close the gap. Make sure that the delta isn't too much between your level of dress and hers. And I think you guys are fine.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
I mean, this is something I've gone through with my wife. Is like, oh, you look so formal, you look so dressed up. I feel underdressed now. It's like, okay, well, let's fix that. Let's figure out either I'll remove something and tone it down a little bit, or you add some different accessories to the dress you picked out or whatever, and we'll balance it out that way.
Yeah. That's kind. Just
if you
make
both
sure
have
that
some
you're not
bling, then
and you don't want them to feel awkward. So that is
exactly
that's kind of you to think of that
exactly.
way. Yeah. Agreed. Cool. Hope that helps. Mr. Mack.
All right. So we have Joseph asking, when wearing his ghillie brogues, how do I keep the laces from falling down? Besides staples.
Staples. Exactly.
Staples.
Or nail gun.
Spirit gum.
The when I tie ghillie brogue laces, I'd say you don't. I've seen people wear them really high up the leg, and they go back around a few times. I'd say don't wear them too high up the leg. If you think of your leg a little bit like an inverse cone, so your calf comes down, and then it goes essentially cylindrical down towards the ankle. You want to wear it on the cylindrical part of your leg. So for me, when I tie them, it's at most about 4 hands or so breadth above the top of the shoe.
Yeah.
It's not halfway up the shin.
Right.
That's the key, because if you start going on the inverse cone, then it will fall down. When you tie the shoes, make sure your foot is at, I can't even do it right now. Your foot is at a 90-degree angle, and your foot and leg are at a 90-degree angle. Don't put your feet out in front of you and lean down like this, because then when if it's relaxed and then you go like this, you're not taking up any slack. You're giving off slack. So that I'd say double knot it if you're going out for the day. I tend to pull it a little bit snug snug enough that it shouldn't fall down, not so snug that you're losing feeling in your toes. And and don't wrap it too high up the leg.
Yeah, it's basically it. Keep it on the bone. Keep it away from the muscle. The thicker the hose you have, the better. Very lightweight, very sleek, sheer kind of kilt hose are going to be more slippery. So that's a factor. I will definitely. I will sometimes do a twist in the back and that middle crisscross as opposed to just crisscrossing. Sometimes that can help. Definitely do a double knot. We always recommend that. Yeah. But this is also one of the reasons why I'm kind of off ghillie brogues right now. I'm just kind of, just not into them. They're kind of cool, but they're also kind of artificial. So
you brought up an interesting point about the the half knot in the back. I didn't think about that. I automatically do that. So I'll do the twist around in the front to make the little column, take it around back, do a half knot in back. And I'll keep my laces taut the whole time I'm doing it.
Yes.
So that way, maybe if there's little grabbing fibers of hose.
A little bit.
And then bring it back around front, half knot, and then the bunny ears. So.
Yeah, but basically it takes some practice.
Yeah, agreed. Cool. Eric.
Hey, what? All right. Excuse me, I have to get out the spectacles. Hope you don't mind I took my jacket off. I was roasting. All right. Keegan Wiley has a style question for us, because you are such a fashion icon. Oh. What is something from your personal kilted style that you would like to see as a quote-unquote trend in Highland wear? Similarly, is there a current trend you would like to see go away, or an old trend you'd like to see make a comeback? So what sucks that should be abandoned? What's cool that should come back? And what is your personal favorite thingamabob you'd like people to follow your lead on as an influencer?
Sure. And Mac, I'll bring you in for this one as well.
You're more stylish than we are anyway.
He matches more.
He really does.
I would say from my personal style that I would like to include in Highland acceptability in Highland wear. That's technically not Highland wear, but I do it all the time. Flat caps or scallop caps. It is not traditional Highland wear head apparel, so to speak. But I think it's cuts a fine figure here with the old flat cap. So
the old noggin.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Makes my head less cold and bald looking. But I love flat caps. I've loved flat caps since I was, mid-teens. I started wearing flat caps. So I was an old young man.
No, you were a dropkick fan.
That too. Well, in my teens, that was my early 20s, I guess. Okay. 97. Yeah.
Were you a golf caddy? I don't know.
No, just like my grandfather wore them. When my grandfather died, my grandmom said, you can have, any of his stuff that you want. And he used to wear flat caps all the time. So I said, oh, that's a cool way to remember my grandpa. So I took a bunch of his flat caps. And then my other grandfather passed on my dad's side. And, the same thing. He wore flat caps as well. So that's kind of where it started.
Oh, okay. You have told that story before, but I didn't realize it was both of your grandparents.
Yeah, my
grandfathers.
My dad's grandfather, my dad's father didn't wear them as much, but I found them and I was like, oh, cool, more.
Cool.
What is your personal style thing?
I don't know.
Want to twist in a little bit.
I'm not going to recommend hats because people hate this. Nobody likes this hat. I dig it, but that's me. The easy go-to would be pocket watches because I'm kind of a pocket watch nerd like that. I think they're fun and they're fun to collect. So I kind of dig that, but that's
goes to
hard.
That goes to the historical one to bring back as well, because they're not common.
Yeah.
Now everyone has either wristwatches or the clock on their phone.
Right.
Okay.
It's true. So I'm not really exciting in this regard.
Okay, Mac, what is your personal style thing?
I'm trying to think of something that isn't you don't really see a lot. I guess mine would be baseball caps. That's really I can't say sneakers or because most people we see wearing kilts are wearing sneakers or especially out and about versus ghillie brogues or day brogues or something along those lines. Low cut socks we all kind of wear those. So on my own level, I guess the only difference really within the building here that I can think of because I'm trying to think. Here and outside here is the baseball caps.
Okay.
So you're on the casual end, I'm on the fogey
Yeah.
end, and Rocky's on the casual end too. But
I would say the overarching kind of between you and me thought would be a not a specific thing, but a vibe of, like, let's say, smart, well put together casual. So color coordinated kind of thing, and not a sloppy look, not a cheap and cheerful costumey type look. Like, think either super cheap kilt or or a Halloween costume type kilt kind of thing, or on the other end of the spectrum, reserved for formal events only. But there's room for personal expression and fun in everyday wear without it having to be too fancy.
yeah.
So I think that's a good, middle road to walk.
Yeah.
All right. Anything current that you want to give the axe to? I'll go reverse order here. Mac. Highland wear do you think needs to go away? If you don't have anything yet, Eric can jump in.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to pass for a minute.
Wait, I have one.
No, if you want one, you could.
I mean,
Highland wear stuff that exists today that you're just kind of like, I'm so over this. This
I
thing should be
don't like
gone.
Gallic Theme's new double-breasted jacket. We've talked about that before. That's not hasn't caught on, but I
Thank
really
God.
don't like it. I think I've worn them, but I'm not always a fan of tartan neckties.
Okay.
If that makes sense. I think
Okay.
I think that they can get overused sometimes.
Okay.
So they would pain me a little bit, but I'd probably sacrifice that in some ways.
Okay.
And I'm not into ghillie brogues, like I was saying before. I'm just kind of tired of. They just feel like a bit much in a way for not a good reason. They're a different way of doing something just for the sake of it being different, as opposed to a lot of the other things we're talking about. There is some kind of a functionality or definitely, I don't know, just it's an affect. It feels like more of an affectation than a lot of the other stuff we talk about. You know what I mean?
I do. I give ghillie brogues a little bit of a pass from an aspect of it's different and it's kind of become part of the thing.
Yeah, they're neat.
They're very different, so it doesn't detract from the overall. So, or it doesn't make a costume of it.
No, no, not at all.
Like the one that I was going to say, which is Highland shirts. I think
Okay.
the old lace up the center piratey shirt type looking thing that is not historical for Highland wear or Highland dress. It's something made up in the 50s, 1950s or so. I've never been a fan. Frankly speaking, I would wear a grandfather shirt before I'd wear a Highland shirt because at least it's a little bit more authentic than a Highland shirt would be. So,
How do
Highland
you
shirt's
feel
my answer.
about chieftains vests then?
They're not. To me, it's sort of like that double-breasted Montrose thing from Gaelic Themes. They're not really a thing yet, so I don't
Been
have
around
to push
a
against them.
long time.
Chieftain's
so they haven't
vest,
really.
yes, but they're not like it's not. You don't see like every other guy wearing one.
Sure.
So that's kind of where I'm at. I'm picking the big monster to throw my stone at.
Okay, David.
Yes, indeed.
You know, it's one thing I think would be fun to see more of is, but I'm not sure everybody can wear them well, because it's easy to have it be too much depending on the sporran. Placketed sporran chains. I would like to see more designs of placket sporran chains because they were once upon a time, like in the late Victorian Edwardian, they were popular, and there were some really pretty cool looking ones out there. Now you've got there's one knotwork one, there's a thistle one, there's the Masonic one, and there's not much else. I'd like to see people playing around with that. I think that could be fun.
Yeah, they get very. It's the if I had to guess, it's they would get very expensive.
Yeah, they
because
could.
it's you have basically it's chain which you can buy in bulk,
right?
Versus or a sporran strap which is just a strip of leather versus something that you have to craft craft each individual.
Money is no object. In
Understood.
This
Understood.
exercise.
I don't disagree with you. I'm saying I think that's why they kind of have fallen off a bit is they just got too pricey. Mac, do you have any for the what you don't want?
Eric, when you brought up a jacket, it made me think of the one jacket that I despise out of all of them, and that is the Inverness cape. That jacket is
Okay.
dumb. Why are there no sleeves?
Because it's a
cape.
cape.
It's not a. Then just wear the cape part. Don't do the body part.
Okay.
But that's what
That's
what you
The
you're-
man doesn't like Inverness capes.
Okay,
He's
okay,
allowed to have an opinion on
I think
Inverness
he's stuck
capes.
in the 1860s with his greatcoats from his Civil War stuff. I think that's where it's
a
coming.
cape would just do a half circle and color done.
No,
Why do you need the body part?
Fight.
because the whole point is to keep the rest of your outfit dry.
Yeah, have a longer cape, not a
So
jacket.
you want a cloak.
He wants a poodle skirt that starts at the neck and goes all the way down. Okay.
No, seriously, are you advocating for cloaks?
I would rather have that than that thing.
Tell me this, how do you keep your accoutrements and your wear dry when you're out hunting grouse and you still need to have your hands free to operate your rifle? Or shotgun. But,
So
I mean, that's the whole point. Bang.
yes, but in going Rev War, when we were doing mounted, we had capes that were just a long cape. Mm-hmm. It was just a half circle. Just
Yep. And how far down on your torso do they come?
Well, the mounted ones were shorter because you're sitting on a horse.
Yes.
The infantry ones were longer.
Uh-huh. And how wet do you think those guys got because nobody thought to put slits into the cloak so you could have your arms free to operate your
It's
musket?
no different than War One wearing a rain cape,
But the
or
point
War
is
War
you
Two
can,
wearing a
but,
rain cape.
but you can button it down and then have your arms stick out.
All right. Ding, ding,
Still
ding.
the
Back
same.
to the
Same.
corners.
The result's still the same.
I
Your
don't
arms still
know.
getting wet.
I don't know.
There's no sleeves.
Mac wants
reason.
sleeves on all of his vests and jackets.
No, he wants a cape.
I know.
He must
he
be
wants-
Super Scott.
He wants sleeves and capes.
I am Kilt
He
Man.
wants all of it. Indeed. Okay. Before Max storms off of the show, angry at Eric.
I said good day, son.
Oh, I said good day.
I think we just need to look at examples together and we will hash
Yes,
this out.
I
Just
think
fine.
we're heading down the same path, just not.
You are coming from a military reenactor standpoint. I'm coming from a civilian,
Sherlock
minor
Holmes.
minor nobility standpoint. Yes.
Indeed, quite. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I don't.
What were we
I'm
doing
afraid
again?
to ask for any more. Yeah. I think we're going to end that question. So, thanks. I hope that helped, and I know it didn't.
That was great.
The
We gotta
Sherlock
do that more
Holmes
often.
Society is coming
What's
after Mac.
back? Well, we went back.
What? Yeah. What would you like back?
I want other sporran options. That's what I want.
Still
Such
more.
as?
Still more sporran options.
Jesus, Mac, we have enough.
Like the one I was,
No, we have
like
to
the one I'm
carry-
wearing now. Like I want like some of those older styles, some of the older cannels. Like that's where I want it to go. Like
Okay.
I'm just kind of meh with most of the stuff that's out there now. I just meh. Like they're too.
Okay.
So you want like more like I think we got the Abbotsford, like the very Victorian ornate kind of cantles where it's like the acorn shapes and stuff like
Yes.
that, or
And he wants more day wear, like military-esque inspired ones from 150 years
Gotcha.
ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
can see that.
Goat hair.
Sure, why not?
I would love goat hair to be affordable. So probably
raise some goats.
goat hair is probably could actually where I live.
That's fair. Okay. All right. That was you. Next one's for Mac. That was your question.
Oh, okay.
So we're going to Mac next.
Oh, we're going to me.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay.
I got all confusticated because of our argument.
All right. So David is asking.
I hate it when mom and daddy fight.
After the designing a tartan, what is the process and what are the options for turning it into fabric and then a kilt?
So
Yeah, Rocky.
So
say again.
after designing a tartan, what is the process and what are the options for turning it into fabric and then turning it into a kilt?
Sure. There's a ton of options. I won't say limitless, but as we make it as limitless as we can. Once you have the design done, send us an email. It's Ian's currently the one who's been dealing with most of the custom weave stuff. So it depends. Questions that we're going to ask are, A, what's your budget? B, what do you want to do with this stuff? Are you making curtains for your house? Are you making a liner for your car? Are you making a kilt? Are you making scarves to give away to your family? Are you making throws for your blanket or throw blankets for your couch? What are the things you want to do with the design? And then we'll kind of walk backwards and say, okay, well, this, if we can get all the things you want out of it made in one weight of cloth, great. Then we can do one weight of cloth. You may have to say, if you say I want a heavyweight kilt and a lightweight, skirt for my wife, then you need to do 2 weights of cloth. So it really depends on budget and the things that you want to do with it, where we would kind of take you. The way that we see our role is kind of a navigator, a guide to help get you where you want. So we would say we try to make sure that you're getting actual value for the thing you're trying to, you want to happen, because we've done it before and most people haven't done it themselves before. So it's our job to kind of navigate and point out the potholes in the road as we're going down the Tartan highway. I don't know. I'm losing my analogy. Any thoughts on that?
Tartan is a highway.
I'm going to design it all night long. Yeah.
No, I was thinking, I wasn't sure if it was about personal, what would be their tartan journey, or if we was asking more about process. But I think it does come. I think from a business standpoint, you tend to see how much oomph the design has. Initially you're going to do a basic run of the wool for making kilts. In our case, that's usually 13 ounce because that's the most common. And then if it continues to be popular, then you start branching out as to, okay, well, people like it for this. Maybe they'd like it for that. Maybe we should do something like an 11 ounce if we can, because it'd be better for women's wear. Maybe we should do something,
a scarf, or
yeah. So I mean, I think it's a question of you start with one most common iteration of the cloth, and then you branch out based on demand.
Yep.
So that's the other from the business side as opposed to the personal side.
Yep.
But yeah.
Agreed.
But
all right, Eric.
Now it's my turn.
Now it's your
okay.
turn.
All right. I don't think I could wait another minute. Hey, Rocky.
Hi.
Jen Zemich wants to know if there's any tartan you actually regret buying or designing. Or designing.
Okay, and we'll bring that Mac in for this one as well. If there's any you've done for yourself, I don't know if you've designed any, but you've bought and made kilts for yourself.
Well, designed is designing. It's still just continuing, go back and forth. Like none of them have made it from computer screen to actual material.
Okay, then I'll expand it this way. Any that we as a company have designed. Okay. So mine, the one that jumped to mind immediately for me was the Italian-American tartan that I designed for a customer. I think Adam has a photo of that over there. There you go. The Italian-American tartan was one where the customer was giving me, this is exactly what I want. So I was just the instrument to put his thoughts onto paper, so to speak. That's one I wasn't thrilled with the final design. There was an existing Italian national tartan, I think somebody did, that it's very, very close to that, and my interpretation of where to go with an Italian-American tartan was very different. But I was hired to do a job. He wanted me to do the job. That's the job. So, that one, I don't like how it turned out. I tried to get him to register it, but he's like, no. You just go ahead and register. I'll just pay you to register it. It's like, I don't want my name on it, but that's fine. That would be the one that I'm kind of like, meh. There's actually probably some others as well, but I'll pass along.
Well, I'm curious to know about one that you designed and it was only you, so the buck stops with you.
Okay.
Remember, it's designed or purchased.
Okay. No. Okay. All right. Here, I'll give you one. Irish Heritage tartan. I designed the Irish Heritage tartan, and that was back at the same time I did American Heritage and German Heritage back in 2006-ish, 7, or maybe even earlier, maybe 5. And I designed it and registered it, 3 or 4 of them at the same time, or in close proximity. and then had a piece woven by Dog Leash, and the green that they used was hideous.
It's electric.
It was electric, boogie, woogie, woogie. And I literally didn't do. I don't even know what the hell happened to that cloth.
I may know where a piece of it is.
Oh, we should not. Oh, Eric's like, good. We're gonna put it in this clip.
Yeah, we're gonna put it in this clip.
But that's one where we had that little piece woven, like a single 8-yard piece, and I hated it immediately. Didn't do anything with it for years. It eventually came back and said, "It's a good name. We should tweak this design and make it good." And then we designed what we now call the Irish Heritage Tartan in polyviscose. And I went to the register and said, "Hey, I've tweaked the design. Here's the thread count, the proper thread count that's being woven." And they said, "You have to pay us to re-register it." And I said, "Okay, never mind." So yeah, the Irish Heritage would be the one that I designed that was a failure.
So Irish Heritage Mark A.
Yes.
Irish Heritage
Part
Alpha.
A. Yes,
Okay.
indeed.
Okay.
How about yourself?
Well, I haven't designed any tartans.
But any that the
so-
company has designed. You can
that the
pick
co-
on me if you want.
any tartans that you guys have designed that I don't like?
Yeah.
Um,
That you regret that we did them.
I think we already discussed the fact that we were not too happy with how the state seal tartans did.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I had nothing to do with that, but at the time, I don't know. I didn't know what to think at that time. I was too new with the company.
Okay.
So to have a gut feeling like, oh, this is not going to work, or this but over time, I was kind of like, yeah, they were designing with one hand tied behind their backs for
Yeah.
this whole massive project. But that's hindsight.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I don't regret it, but I would never buy. I'd be loath to buy a lot of clan tartans again. The very first kilt I ever had when I started here was Thompson Gray, and I just I liked dark colors like that, and it seemed like a nice, elegant, simple one as my first ever tartan kilt. And I don't think I would do that again because there's other options that are much more interesting now. So I don't regret it, but I'm kind of like, it's like a baby's first tartan kind of a thing. It's kind of like, wow, I know a lot more now.
Sorry to the Thompsons. Understood. It's
They
not.
have
It
more
wasn't your
reason to
clan
like it
tartan.
than I
Yes,
do, you know.
Yes. There are much more interesting tartans. Maybe one representing the Pacific Northwest that may be announced soon.
If only we had a model to show that off.
Only.
be
If
good.
only there was a kilt, maybe somewhere in this room. We'll see. See what happens. Mac, what are your design?
I think the advantages that we have to any of this really is we have the advantages of swatch books.
Yes.
That's
And-
a big, good point. Yes.
And there's one tartan I was considering that we got a sample of this week that I was like, yeah, I'm glad I didn't order that.
oh,
So
that one.
Yeah, so it's one of those
Top
where
secret.
where we have that advantage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if we can hold out in certain cases and wait to see somebody else order it first, then we can look at things and go, yeah.
So to Mac, you are all just the penguin on the edge of the iceberg. He's going to push you into the water. So thank you for your service, penguins.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, just a reminder, you can't order swatches
Yeah.
from us. If it is
Yeah.
a tartan that is being woven, we'll gladly get you a swatch or 2 or 6 if you're not sure.
With us
But
designing it, that's more
With
difficult.
us designing it, that doesn't happen. But
A swatch is 10 yards long, double width.
the one we're talking about is not one we designed, but we have information about, and I rather agree with you. Mm-hmm. There was another one in that batch that we both had strong reactions to.
And I think that one I like a lot better.
Yep. And at the same time, I was like, I liked it better than what I thought I was going to like, but I'm still not that thrilled with it.
Yeah.
So
They're being very, very, very cryptic.
I know.
So they've gone from fighting to now like inside joke, inside comments kind of thing. Yes, we have some advanced knowledge of some really cool stuff coming forward, not from us, from somebody else.
from somewhere else.
All right, very good. So
Neat.
that aside,
But the Irish Heritage that was one of the ones I first thought of. The other one that I would add to that would be American Heritage Antique.
yeah. I have no idea what you're talking
that was
about.
kind of that didn't work out so good.
I love the idea, the
Concept was great.
and then
Execution.
just boom.
It was like American Heritage purple. Or it was like,
yeah. It was just the wrong gray.
Yeah.
So, indeed. Okay. enough talk about my failures. All right, Mr. Mac.
All right, so we have Tyler asking a question.
Good.
kilt?
Oddly enough, that's what
Thank
the
you,
show's
Tyler.
for. Thank
Yeah,
you.
appreciate it.
Planning right along.
He's already planning ahead for the next holiday. What kilt are you planning to wear to Thanksgiving Day?
One with an elastic waistband.
Gobble. Yeah, that's what your great kilt's for.
Oh, good point. Good point. Extender straps.
Yeah.
What tartan for Thanksgiving? What tartan would I wear to Thanksgiving? I'm trying to think what tartans fit me anymore. Like, I would like the old maple leaf one that I have from Batley's. That would be a good
Maple leaf is
autumnal
pretty darn good.
good one. Yeah, I'm not much of a outside of a tartan release party. I'm not much of a plan it in advance kind of guy. It's more of a what am I in the mood for today? And I'll grab a shirt that I want to wear, and then I'll figure out one of the kilts that'll match the shirt. So I'll probably do that. If it's warm, I would wear a 5-yard kilt and probably a lesser shirt. If it's hot, I might lesser meaning like something like this
top.
or
Crop top.
tube top. Come on now. So I'd probably wear something a little bit more, risque apparently, or I'd wear something if it's cooler. Maybe I'll wear like a tweed vest and a long sleeve, dress shirt, that kind of thing, button down. So yeah, I'd start there, then I'd move into the tartan. But as a color palette, maple leaf. Eric,
It's so hard to beat because I was kind of thinking the same thing. So
too bad I went first.
yeah.
Mac, do you have any?
Well, first I would ask my wife if there's a particular color that I'm supposed to wear that day, and then
Does she tie your shoes too?
no, I'm just making sure that I'd stay on color palette
Smart
brand.
man. Smart man.
But if I had my
On
choice,
family brand.
yes, family brand, probably county down.
Little stuffing and gravy action going.
Mm-hmm.
I got you.
I'm just stuffing in the gravy. But yeah, I think that's where I would probably go to first.
Okay. Yeah, now like maybe dairy.
Mm-hmm.
Could be another good one. Okay.
I don't know if I want to go with the whole brown thing.
County Cavan.
On the comments, we
Cavan
got
is good.
Glen
Cavan is-
Afric has been mentioned a couple times.
Cranberry
Yeah.
and gravy, sure. It's all about the turkey.
Cool in the Sky has been
Cool in the
mentioned
sky.
here now.
Okay.
Yep.
So
All right.
I can't top any of that. Except say I might consider doing tweed instead. I'd either go with something
Okay.
weather or I would go with a tweedy one. Like I've kind of got my eye on a couple of the new Hebridean tweedy things from House of Edgar.
Okay.
But
Okay. I can see it.
something more rusticated.
Yes, indeed. Let us know in the comments what tartan you would wear for Thanksgiving. Yeah, I agree. All right, Eric.
Is this where I admit to him all that I'm colorblind?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, you mean yes, I should admit I'm colorblind?
Indeed.
Okay. I'm not colorblind. Yes. Okay, I remember this question. This one's cool. Andrew Owen asked, what are our thoughts on the Welsh
Ysgrepan?
Ysgrepan. That's a type of sporran, or that's the Welsh word for sporran. Ysgrepan. Does the dress version seem properly formal among dress sporrans that all have cantles, which the dress Ysgrepan does not? Do we know how far back the design goes, or was it mainly a Welsh tartan center invention? So is it a new thing? Is it an ancient thing?
Yeah.
What's the deal with Welsh
Ysgrepan,
sporrans?
yeah. I think Adam has a photo with this one as well.
We did prepare for this one just to make
So,
sure.
Adam, pop that
Wait, now?
puppy
Okay.
up there. There you go.
Ta-da.
There you go. It's pronounced Ysgrepan. The day version is on the left, and the dress Ysgrepan is on the right. The fur in those is goat for the white, and the for the dress one is actually horsehair. And the dress one is a little bit larger than the day version. I spoke to Dan at the Welsh Tartan Center, or Wales Tartan Center, excuse me, and kind of got his information on it. So basically, the Ysgrepan back in the mid 1990s, when with the push for Irish tartans and Welsh tartans and all this kind of stuff, and the pan Celticness of it all, the people that designed the Welsh tartans wanted their stuff specifically to be different. They didn't just want to do the Scottish thing and slap a dragon on it or a daffodil on it and call it Welsh. They wanted to do something different and meaningfully different. So for the Welsh tartans, the warp, generally speaking, the warp and the weft of the tartans are different. They're not the same, like a Scottish tartan, which makes a box or a square. The Welsh ones typically make more of a rectangle. The accoutrement, the accessories, the kilt pins, the buckles, and everything like that. They started out doing gold because Scottish accessories tended to be silver. They wanted to do gold just to make it different. Their Prince Charlie jacket, they did gold round buttons versus square chrome buttons. They had options for, I think still do, for like tartan inset, parts of the jacket, just a little bit of bling. So everything they were doing, they were trying to put a different twist on it to be different and not just be seen as, it's the same thing. There you
Hey,
go.
look.
Yeah.
There we go. Thank you, Adam.
Good call, Adam. Now, they did the same thing with the sporrans, essentially. They said, okay, well, Scottish sporrans have 3 tassels, so we're going to have our dress sporran have 2 tassels, and the day sporran have no tassels. Ysgrepan is the closest Welsh word equivalent for sporran. It really means like men's wallet, is the way Dan explained it to me. So they're trying to do it to be different. And everything that they did back then through to today, they are trying to do as many things made in Wales, woven in Wales, as they can. So the Cambrian Woolen Mill was the original mill that they used for all their tartan before it closed down. The Welsh Ysgrepan, the sporran, they actually have made locally. It's like 20 minutes from their shop. There was an old gent who made them in the shed in his back garden, and he passed the business down to his grandson, who still makes them there today. So the sporrans that were made in the 1990s are made in the same building on the same tools by the same family today that were made back then. And when I was talking to Dan, I asked him, so what do you how do these actually sell? Because we don't sell them, but how do they sell for you guys? And the way that he kind of put it was, if somebody comes into the shop to buy a kilt outfit head to toe, if they see, or when they get to the sporran, he says, if he tells them the story of, well, these sporrans are Welsh, they're made in Wales, they are designed by Welshmen, this is meant to go with this particular outfit. You can buy the Scottish version of a Welsh sporran. It's probably going to be a little bit less expensive, and they have both options there in the store. His estimation was about 70% of the people in the store went with the Ysgrepan, where the other 30% or so went with the Scottish version of a Welsh sporran. Online, he said, without that interaction, without that explanation, without that sizzle, so to speak, he said online, the vast majority are the Scottish ones. So it's kind of where I land on it personally. So that's essentially the backstory. And all that is cool. And I really appreciate the fact that they are trying to do something different and not just have the same old that everybody else has, or just whack a dragon on it and call it Welsh. I like the fact that they're doing something different. I like the fact that they're trying to keep it made in Wales. It's not for me. When I, having, done Highland wear for, 25 years now almost, my eye is, a sporran should be either a sideways D shape or an oval with a metal ring on there, a metal semicircle, a cantle on the top. That's what a dress sporran is. This is what a day sporran is. It looks right in my eye. So it's the Welsh version, the Ysgrepan, I'm kind of meh on. I wouldn't wear it. If somebody else wants to wear it, I'm throwing no shade. You can absolutely do it. Have at it. It's a cool thing. It's different. It's just not my cuppa. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts?
Me?
Yeah.
Me?
Do you have thoughts?
As little as possible.
Fair.
Yeah. And all my deepest respect to all the guys over in Wales who have been spearheading this since the 90s. But unvarnished opinion is that I think they were trying really, really hard, to the point of trying way too hard back then. because they did do what you're saying. They did basically slap dragons on things. They even embroidered little red dragons onto their kilts and onto the jackets, or little red dragons embroidered on the epaulets and stuff. And there's a big dragon on the Ysgrepan, and I think that's probably a reason why it was popular. To me, it looks like casual wear, and to be perfectly honest, in the fullness of time since it came out, I'm sure it was much fresher back then, but it reminds me a lot of Ren Fair stuff now. And I think a big part of that is the mechanical hook clasp, swivel clasp. I think Wales deserves more art. I think there are motifs of Welsh culture that have not been hit upon for sporran designs. I think there's a lot of room for leatherwork and metalwork that, if the market would support it, I mean, you got the daffodils, you got St. David and all the stuff associated with him. It's
Glyndŵr.
You got. I mean, leeks. I mean, you got some of the designs that got used in making love spoons and things like that. There's a and Owen Glyndŵr especially. I mean, there's a lot of stuff you could play with, I think, that hasn't happened yet. I'd like to see a renaissance of Welsh design so that's worthy of it having come of age as its own thing, because it really has now. But I think the sporran is kind of an artifact of the early times.
Yeah,
that's my opinion on it.
So I think it's fair to say, in surmising that, and kind of where I feel on it as well, is that they definitely made something different. In my mind, they made it so different it doesn't look like the thing. So that's I think where I land on. I don't like it. I'd rather do something. Now I'm a bit biased because we did it, but the like our Irish cantle that we did. Yeah. Where we have, the claddagh in the center of it with the harps, and we have like little tiny embellishments of the shamrocks up the shoulder of the cantle. Something to have the symbolism there while maintaining a standard sporran body. So,
and there's practical considerations also as to why those designs were developed and stuck around for 200 plus years. Yeah. Not all of them are that old, but a lot of them did. I mean, if they like the look of that square shape as that's kind of our thing now, then design cantles like that. Do metal cantles like the squared off metal cantles that still exist for Scotland. I mean, we've seen those things. It's just I don't want Welsh wear that looks like bizarro Scotland. Right. I think and this is from talking with my wife too, who is of Welsh descent, and we're just like, it'd be cool to have something a little different. Fun. Yeah, just some variety. I mean, we're all about dragons.
Who doesn't love dragons?
Who isn't? But there's got to be more stuff you could do with it. Even that, you know.
Or less on the nose.
Less on the nose. That's basically what I'm saying.
It doesn't have to be the dragon on the flag.
You've staked your flag on the hill. The borders are secure. Now play around with it some more.
Got it. Yeah. No, I agree.
That's my thought.
I agree, 100%. You know what else we could do to play around with things?
I don't know. What?
Design a tartan for the Pacific Northwest of the United States.
There's a lot of Welsh people there.
There's a lot of Welsh people.
Wait,
that
what?
would be excellent. Wait, no.
Wait, okay.
Should we design a tartan Pacific Northwest?
I think we should. I think we should.
Yes.
Why not?
Boys and girls.
I got 5 minutes. Let me do this.
Without further ado, here is the premiere of our Pacific Northwest tartan. The Pacific Northwest is teeming with life. From the cold, tumbling waves of the Pacific Ocean to the roaring rivers filled with salmon and the dense, moss-covered nooks and crannies of the forest. Walking along trails covered with leaves and pine needles, the forest envelops you. Dew-soaked ferns shroud the forest floor. The air is cool with fog and heavy with the scent of earth and evergreens. This is nature at its most intimate, within reach. The rivers and the land are filled with wildlife. Black bears and bald eagles feast on salmon and trout. It's the cycle of life. And whether you're eating chanterelle mushrooms, sun-warmed blackberries, or freshly smoked salmon, you too take in the life of the land. Looking around, you see what Lewis and Clark saw when they traversed the Columbia River and first set eyes on the Pacific Ocean. This foggy coastline feels like the edge of the world. Towering waves crash against ancient rock, spraying a salty mist into the air. And as you look out into the gray expanse of the Pacific, you might catch a glimpse of a pod of orca whales. The Pacific Northwest is all of this, and much more. Rugged individuals have inhabited this land for millennia. Each generation has acknowledged that this place holds a great power, and each honors it by treading lightly, with humility and respect. For our PNW tartan, we've balanced the life-giving elements of this region, the forests and the waterways, using dusky greens and blues. The navy blue symbolizes the waters of the Pacific Ocean, the Salish Sea, and the rivers that shape the land. Dark green represents the evergreen trees in the rainforest, Douglas fir, western red cedar, hemlock, and Sitka spruce. We included a stripe of light green for the ferns, the moss, and other ground covers in the forest. The color brown is a nod to the native wildlife of the earth and of the air, like bald eagles, bears, deer. A delicate line of rusty red symbolizes marine life, like salmon, trout, and orcas that thrive in the Pacific Northwest. And finally, a soft gray represents the shrouding forest mist, the rocky terrain, and the mountains that tower over this realm. The PNW offers so much to those rugged individuals who call this place home. This tartan is for anyone who seeks the primal, both within themselves and within their environment. It's for individuals who honor nature and gladly accept her terms. It's for anyone who knows deep down that life is an epic adventure. So that is our Pacific Northwest, the PNW tartan. Let us know in the comments what you think of the design, of the thought process that went into it.
Please.
Yes, pretty please. In doing research for this, I reached out to one of my my oldest friend, Darcy, is a wetland scientist out in Seattle, has been for the last 25 years or so. And she essentially helps people with figure out environmental circumstances as they go through the permitting process for development and stuff. She is like as environmentally friendly as the day is long. I'll put it nicely. I love you, Dar. I think she actually may be in the comments here. So anyway, I had her. She gave me a lot of freaking feedback.
Oh yeah.
I was just like, hey, Dar, be my muse. Like, tell me, what I need to include in this, like the colors, the symbolism, the number, like what does everything feel like out there? What does it mean? Give me thoughts. And she wrote like a 6-page freaking report.
Oh yeah, I remember.
Woman knows what she's doing.
Yep.
So yeah, she gave me a ton of things to chew on. So I was really, really excited getting into the project. Once that was kind of done, I showed it to her. She, loved it. Her husband, who's lived there his entire life, thought that we captured it. So I wanted to get a few more people's thoughts on it. We went to our friends over at Kilts,
Crash
and Caitlin over at Kilts, and Jackson from North of Hadrian's, and just basically say, hey, we're coming up with this tartan, and it's representing the area you guys are from. What do you guys think of it? And I was humbled that they were excited about it, and they both wanted to do something with it as well. So a couple things I would say is, one, keep your eyes peeled for a what do they call it, a crossover event with Kilts. They have something cool coming up in the very, very near future, i.e. Monday. And I think Jackson's doing something with the tartan as well. We sent a piece off to him to play around with. So yeah, it's one that I'm happy. It feels Pacific Northwesty to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think it's got the depth. I think it's the depth of the colors and the calm that you get, because it is, I always think of the new rainforest. I don't know. I've not been to the Pacific Northwest. What I know about it is in the abstract. I've been to San Diego or San Francisco, so I've been to redwood country, but it's not the same. But there's the mistiness, the subdued nature, the just kind of like there's a calm and a primitiveness to it. I mean, it feels primordial. You feel like a freaking, giant sloth or something is going to come rambling through the woods at you, because it's just some of this environment just has not changed since before human habitation. It's amazing from that standpoint. So I think the colors really did justice to that.
Yeah, the one thing that it was kind of funny that like several people who've seen it that were from that area said to me was, I'm happy you didn't just make it gray. Everyone thinks, oh, it's just rainy. It rains there all the time. There's no colors. It's dark and dreary and drab, and nobody. There's no sun here in the PNW. But every one of them like, no, that's it. Like there is color, there is beauty, there is vibrancy. There's plenty of rain to go with it.
Yeah.
But that also feeds into the life springing forth.
Well, and rain makes colors pop. I mean, we know living here in Pennsylvania, it's like after a rainstorm, just the greens and everything just become, and they're just so much more vibrant.
Yeah, in Ireland,
so,
like
the
exactly. Greens, So
I think that you got a good balance of the subduedness, but also the color pops you get from the environment. So I'm a little biased, maybe. Yeah,
and I love the one thing I was pleased about with in the finished sample piece that we got was that looking at it indoors versus outdoors, it has a different vibrancy. It takes on a different life. Ask Adam how he feels about editing the photos of Pacific Northwest.
Oh boy,
897 times. I'm
hard.
like, no, it's not blue enough. It's not green enough. We got to bring this down. It's really, really tough to get a good image of the design because it is so complex and different in different lighting.
Yeah, this one was particularly hard.
Yeah.
It's like he went through 5 or 6 iterations or whatever, just trying to figure out.
It took a while.
Because you start changing one tone in the photograph, and then the other one becomes off, and you have to balance that one. And it's just like, nope, doesn't look at the cloth yet.
Yep.
But so, what are people out in the wildernesses saying?
So you've got a lot of OMGs, you got a lot of woohoos.
There goes my money.
Love it. It was a great pick for Canucks fans as well.
Fair.
Okay.
Rocky, you nailed it again. Much love. These are amazing, sweet, nice. Why must you just continue to design tartans like this? For my wallet's sake.
Because we're evil.
A few people also noticing that maybe you made a change. Weren't you wearing Stuart Old earlier?
What are you talking about? I had this on the whole time. You people didn't notice I had the PNW tartan on the whole time. Mm-hmm. Yes, during the video I jumped up and changed real quick. So I have the actual kilt here. I'll stand up ish kind of so you can see it in the flesh, so to speak. And now I'm gonna sit on my pleats. There you go. So we don't screw it all.
Don't do that. Don't say.
There's a couple comments talking about. Can we talk about the quality of the promo video that these guys are putting out too?
I agree. Yes. Yeah. The Patrick did Grand Canyon, and Adam did this one. So it's the quality of their work is definitely awesome. Patrick's was a little bit longer, trying to get the vibe exactly right, and Adam saw what we ended up with, and he ran with this one. So I'm psyched with what we're putting out as far as marketing around the stuff too. So thank you for the compliment. I'm passing it along to them.
I'm glad
sitting
people
in the room.
appreciate that. I mean,
yes, I am
these
too.
guys do put a lot of work into it. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool.
And
Excellent.
More to come.
Yes, indeed. I'm already on 3 tartans from now. This one we finished this one a while ago, so now it's finally out and I can finally talk about it. I'm already on what's it? Purple Mountains is now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Ordered, so we'll have a. Oh yeah, by the way, if you didn't notice, I flipped Purple Mountains. I'm bringing that one forward to March of 2025. So if you were excited about Purple Mountains, you will have a year less to wait.
Get more excited.
Yes, get more excited. Get exciteder.
Okay. Pro tip: ask for money this year for Christmas, or better yet, USA Kilts gift card.
There you go. Excellent. Cool. All right. Which question was last? Was it you or Mac?
It was us. So
okay.
It was the
Mr. Mac.
Ysgrepan.
All right. So we have Wolf of Waldron over there on the Twitch asking a question here.
The lone Twitch viewer.
There's been a couple comments I've seen from Twitch today.
All right.
Okay. Wolf's not alone. He's not a lone wolf.
He's not a lone wolf.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Jinx.
In regards to headwear and kilts, how concerned should I be about the pattern and color in the hat?
A lot.
Yeah. See, to me, that's it. It is one where I will draw a line. There's a one of our. This is not meant to be product placement heavy, but this one, what's this one called? Charcoal? Not charcoal. This is slate.
Slate.
Yeah, we call this one slate. It's a Adam. Give me a zoom in on my hat here. So this has little tiny red stripes in it, and it's a charcoal, essentially herringbone. So this one is called slate. This was the first one I got of this style flat cap. We also have another one I think we call Old Glory. It's like a cream kind of color and navy with a blood red kind of stripe in it. And I was like, oh, when I saw that, I was like, yes, that one. I'm going to love that one. I can't wait. And then I got it and I realized, like, this really doesn't go great with any of my kilts. So I don't wear it with kilts. I'll wear it with pants or something else, but I'm not going to wear it with kilts. So because the pattern it's too much. It's too strong of a pattern.
Yeah.
So if it's a subtle herringbone or subtle like window pane check or something like that, subtle is key. That doesn't conflict with the kilt. Have at it. If it's something like a Madras plaid, crazy over the top hat or something that's very, very loud, and the kilt, it doesn't blend well or tone well or vibe well with the kilt, I'd give it a miss.
Yeah. Basically. No notes. It's if in doubt, don't do it. Yeah, I mean keep it really subdued. Keep it conservative. I mean we live in the world of CU Jimmy hats and stuff, so we're always kind of like, oh, more color equals more tackiness potentially. So don't recommend.
Yeah, and it could also look like you're trying too hard. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you try to go like super duper loud, it looks like you're trying too hard. Subtlety is the key. For me, for Highland dress and style, it's the subtlety is the key. You don't need the over the top stuff. You just let the way that it blends together as an outfit and the understated nature and the fact you're wearing a freaking kilt kind of speak as the piece of your outfit. And the hat's just there to kind of complement it and work around it.
So what about trying to color tone match a hat with a tartan you're wearing? Or is there not much point in trying? Because
it depends on the tartan and how loud it is. If you're wearing hat as in
just talk to Mac.
Yeah,
Just
you got an expert. Right?
I'm the one that color. This gray matches the gray striping.
Mac's like, hello, I'm right here.
I mean, that's basically my outfit starts with my hat and goes from there. It all blend, like I will pull a particular stripe out as that color, and that's the one I'm going with that day.
Okay.
So I am probably way more picky on that than
down to the shoes.
Down to the shoes.
Yeah,
yes.
And you also have access to a bigger collection than I think a lot of people have. We all have more kilts than your average bear out there. But except for you, people who are subscribers for the American 250 collection on the Kilt of the Month Club. So it can be done, is what you're saying.
Yeah, it's just again, it's all what you already have on hand versus there's certain things when I'm looking at hats. If I'm looking at buying a new hat, I will particularly
which kilts will this match?
Exactly, I will lean those directions to go. Okay, I can put this with this or this with that.
Yep.
Knowing that I'll be able to work that in.
Yep. Right. I do the same thing with hats that I do with dress shirts and tattersall shirts and tweeds and things like that. How many kilts can I wear this with? Which one is it? Or if it's like a bang. I saw a Brooks Brothers shirt, and I'm allergic to paying $100 for a freaking dress shirt. I can't do it.
No.
I have to wait for like a Black Friday sale or something from them where it's like $40 and affordable. But there's one shirt that they have that's like it's like a light blue, a navy blue, and a blood red, and I'm like on a white shirt. I'm like, oh, that would go so good with American Dream. I really, really want this shirt, but I'm not going to pay for it that much for it. But yeah, there's specific ones, and I'm like, ooh, it's so right on. I have to get it. And then there's other ones like, okay, I can wear this with a few different things. So,
yep,
yeah.
Or you just wear black.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah. Black goes with everything.
My turn?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. This is a hassle. Noah Barnett What Scottish / Irish / Pan-Celtic food are each of y'all bringing to the K&C Friendsgiving extravaganza? Note, this is actually entirely theoretical. However, you are not permitted to say cups or napkins. So you have to actually choose a food.
You have to choose a food.
The party may or may not actually exist in the real world.
All right. Mac, bring you in for this as well. Mm-hmm. We're going to have a Pan-Celtic feast extravaganza, kick-ass blast bonanza. Mm-hmm. What food are you? And let's say, okay, we'll break it into two categories.
What?
A, there's no like monetary limit. You can spend whatever you want. B, something that you're buying versus something that you're making to bring to it. So we'll allow either or both.
See, my first reaction is I raise chickens and turkeys, so smoking one of them. Or if I wanted to think ahead, do like a goose or a pheasant or something along those lines, thinking more game.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Along those lines, but also made me think of like Colcannon, like something along those lines. Or there's the Scottish version of Colcannon that's got cabbage, fried onions in it, and potatoes.
Yeah, it's on the tip of my tongue.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what it's called.
Anything with fried onions and potatoes is good, though.
Yeah, but it's along those lines.
Right.
Like I was thinking down that route.
Okay. Eric?
Everything. I was going to be flip and say I'm just going to bring a bunch of fried Mars bars. Working backwards for dessert, I would probably do Tipsy Laird because I love that dessert. I also love Clootie Dumpling, but you know, you want something a little lighter and fruitier after all the other heavy, especially carb-heavy stuff you have for Friendsgiving. For a main course offering, I would do something with venison.
Okay.
Because it's kind of the unsung hero of all of those places, all of these
Highland
lands.
Stag,
And venison is good, and I would basically marinate it and roast it with medieval to Renaissance appropriate spices that are traditional to the region. So basically black pepper, cinnamon, nutmeg / mace, clove, to give it that kind of really savory, tangy, sweet kind of vibe that would go with the gaminess of the venison.
Okay.
And I think that would frickin' rock.
Venison's been brought up quite a bit here in these comments.
Yep.
I would do my version of cottage pie, which it's instead of or shepherd's pie, / cottage pie. Shepherd's pie is lamb or sheep, and cottage pie is beef. So I like cottage pie, and when I don't, in fairness, I don't make it, but when I have input in it being made, I would say beef, and then a bit of corn. I like the corn for the flavor and the crunchiness and a little bit of sweetness of it, and then a nice like thick creamy mashed potatoes with a little bit of cream cheese in the mashed potato mix as you're putting it up.
Sure.
And then a little bit of cheddar cheese sprinkled on top. Pop that puppy in the oven. Frickin' heaven.
Now we're all hungry.
I know. Or my other go-to, which is shepherd's pierogies. Coming from the married into Polish household, where I take ground beef and a little of the seasoning and some cheese and put it inside a pierogi with the mashed potatoes.
Stuff it in the pierogi.
Exactly.
Get in the pierogi.
It's the
venison would work really
Polish
well
turducken.
for cottage pie too. Actually, I mean that's another
yeah,
thing to do.
yeah, that's fair.
It really is made for that. I mean, you really should marinate it, for a long time to make it right. So now I'm wondering what kind of whiskey-based marinade recipes are out there.
I'll tell you what whiskey-based marinade should be.
Huh.
Should be
Lots
the
of
other thing
whiskey?
I'm going to bring to the party is a full case, since money's not a thing. Full case of Oban 18, like 24 bottles. Yes.
I'm talking about marinating the meat, not marinating
marinating
the guests.
myself. Oban 18, magnifique.
You have the drinks first, and then the rest of the food doesn't
matter.
matter.
No, now I'm hungry and thirsty. Damn.
Right?
Now what?
Oh, there's a fish soup that they do in Scotland also.
Nope, lost me. Nope.
What the hell is it? It's
Make a left turn.
Why am I forgetting the name of this? There's this really traditional fish soup from up north, which is really good. Anyway, that's a good one.
I don't
That's
know,
a good
but
comfort
everybody's
food.
saying no vegan haggis though. That has been
Well,
out.
hey, hold on,
There's a lot of vegan meat stuff I don't mind actually. It's not meat. You just don't think of it that way.
Uncharacteristic. You will never hear me defend vegan stuff, except I will say, when we had Ali on the show, we tried vegan haggis.
We did,
and it
was pretty
wasn't bad.
Yeah.
It wasn't haggis, but it wasn't bad for what it was. So it's kind of like a side dish almost.
Yeah.
But honestly, like if you go somewhere where they have vegan haggis, give it a shot. Don't poo-poo it.
It's because the
like I
spices
did.
are all the same. Haggis is actually all about the spices.
Yeah.
Really, that's the truth of it. Especially if you're using mixed meats and offal and stuff like that. You wanted heavy spicing to make that palatable and good. I mean, it's the same with humble pie. Mumble or numble pie. It's the same thing. You had the offcuts of the meat and stuff that you could get because you were poor, and you spiced the hell out of it. Or in the case of humble pie, you put a lot of wine in it to marinate
fair.
it, and that just took care of the problem. So it's the same deal. So yeah, you can make a lot of things that are actually vegan, but they taste okay because the spices are right.
Agreed.
Coolin.
I'd rather have the real one, but Colin Skink. Yes, thank you.
Yes.
That's good stuff.
It's
That's
like
good.
The comments just start
Thank
loading
you.
with it.
Thank you, because it's a good cockles of your heart kind of warming dish. Very good for the fall and the winter.
I'll let it warm someone else's cockles. I'm not a fish guy.
Really good.
I will take your word that it is good. I do not like fish. No. Okay. Excellent. Anything else there, Mac?
Scottish eggs were talked about.
Ooh, Scotch eggs. Yeah, yeah,
They're
yeah.
not.
But they didn't say
Okay.
they're not. They did
Okay.
clarify that.
Okay.
But shortbread was also mentioned too.
Shortbread is
Okay.
always good.
Okay. As dessert, yes,
And
yes.
things you can do with shortbread.
Yeah.
Good old salmon with some whiskey sauce as well.
Okay.
Now, is it Scotch eggs or Scottish eggs? Because I don't want to get in
Scotch.
trouble for saying
It's
the wrong
Scotch
thing.
because it comes from scotched, which means pan
good
frying.
Point. Good point.
And it was actually a workman's food that was invented. I think it was London. It was either London or one of the other
'Cause you get all
big
of it
industrial
in
towns.
one hand.
You could keep it in one hand.
Yep.
And you could take it with you. And it was basically mobile food, just like Welsh pasties.
Pasties,
Are,
yep.
are
Or meat
same
pies.
idea.
Another thing that was in the comments as well.
Yeah.
God, I love Welsh. Oh man, pasty. Why didn't I think of
know.
that too?
Yeah. Yeah.
I used to
Pasties.
eat that. There used to be there
pies.
used to be a brand in the '80s called Mr. Pasty. I don't even know if it still exists, but I went through so damn many of those when I was a teenager. They were not
Yeah.
cheap, but they were in our supermarket, and I was like, and I'd eat like one of those a day, easily, with a little bit of Worcestershire on top. Sometimes, that was the bomb.
Oh. Ooh, what if we did shepherd's pie or cottage pie with a little bit of Worcestershire in it as well?
Oh yeah, I always use a little Worcestershire when I'm with the meat.
Or a little A1 sauce, like almost as a base for it. Oh God, man, I'm hungry now. Stop it.
Would it be A1 or would you use HP sauce?
Ooh.
HP is they're related, and
Yeah.
I love
So
HP sauce.
I use HP sauce all the time.
I like A1 better than HP, but I don't mind HP either. Yeah.
It depends on what it is.
Yeah.
What I'm making, but
Yeah.
yeah, HP is I'll HP just on chips.
Yeah.
But it's funny because A1 is basically Worcestershire on steroids, and Worcestershire is actually ketchup. So
Yeah.
it was mushroom ketchup.
It's a base. Yeah.
It was, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
ketchup was Anyway, you guys know this.
Yeah.
That's why you used to call tomato ketchup, not just ketchup, because it was it's ketchup, but we made it with tomatoes this time.
Not catsup.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But Worcester. Anyway, I digress.
Okay, we've digressed enough. All
I'm
right.
curious to know if there's any other Townsend's fans out there because yeah.
In the comment about making the Scotch eggs on there
Yep.
with ham instead of sausage.
Yeah, and lots of nutmeg. Now this
Ham
is
instead of sau- make
this
it with
is of
bacon
course
instead of
Townsend's.
sausage.
So of course we're gonna add a lot more nutmeg.
Ground up bacon. As a
Stop. Wait, dude, stop.
Wait,
Stop.
This segment is
Stop.
way too long.
Dude, my stomach. You can't.
need to
that
get
mic's
back
gonna
on
hear my
track.
brought to
stomach
you by
grumbling.
the Food Network.
Yes. All right. Next question. Let's go.
Go. about dessert.
Yeah, I know.
So, question about tailoring kilts. If a kilt is pleated, can the waist be shortened? It seems like it would ruin the pleats. How does it work?
If the kilt is pleated, can the waist be shortened? I mean, I'm assuming they mean like they lost weight or they got smaller. Waist.
Waist to be shortened.
It's made smaller, not shortened.
Yeah, not
shrunken down. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, within reason. Depends on how much smaller it needs to be made, and how much money you have to reconstruct the garment. So anything can be torn apart and made smaller and put back together. But if let's say you're the kilt is a 50-inch waist, and you're a 36-inch waist. How do you make that smaller? Well, you can essentially take off the lining, take off the horsehair canvas, take off the straps and buckles, take off all this stuff, and then take off, let's say, the last 4 pleats and the first 4 pleats, and then redo the front apron, make that smaller, reattach the fringe, reattach the buckles in the front, put it all back together, then put in the horsehair canvas, then put in the lining, and redo the entire process. Oh, and I forgot the waistband. So you can rip the entire thing apart, chop out sections, then put it all back together. But at that point, the amount of labor it takes to get it that far apart and then that much back together, you're essentially at the cost of a new kilt. So unless this is some kind of family heirloom that there's only one, that you need it to be this exact one, frankly speaking, you're better off just selling that, passing it along, getting it to somebody else, recouping some of the money, and then putting it into a brand new kilt made to your measurements. That's kind of where I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
Mac, any kilt makery type thoughts?
Yeah, it's all going to be in how much that you're bringing in.
Yeah. Now, if it's 2 inches, then what would you? I'll let you do this one.
At that point, we're just moving the buckles and the under apron strap, because those work in conjunction with moving to adjusting the kilt. So, that's an easier. It's a 10 minute fix versus a complete redo.
Day. Yeah.
So it just depends on how much we're moving.
Yeah. Agreed.
Sell it and get a
Mexican
kilt.
stand-up. Okay. Exactly. Yeah, taking me alive. All right. Eric.
Yeah. Okay.
Indeed.
Yes. Mark Smith asks, how many African American men wear kilts? The reason I ask is because I myself am African American. I have noticed only one other gentleman in the KNC group who is African American. He has a great sense of style and he assimilates the culture very well. I want to know if there are many other black men out there who wear kilts. I'm looking forward to hearing from them. So, if there are any of y'all out there, please, in the comments, please let us know what your perspective is. I think this gets to feeling where you're at in the American scene as well as compared to the Scottish scene, and geography. Again, it reminds me a little bit of when we get questions from people who are like, I'm in a small town and nobody here is kilted ever, and I feel so. I mean,
and or personal bugaboos or personal hang-ups about things that that someone may not feel entitled to, but in a different way. This kind of just struck me. A lot of it, and I'll speak as a white guy.
You're not going to speak as anything else.
Fair enough. I can speak as a white guy with mostly German heritage. Meaning I don't have Scottish lineage. So in starting to wear the kilt, there's that question in my mind, or a version of that question in my mind of, am I allowed to do this? Is it weird if I do this? Are people going to look at me funny either because I'm wearing a skirt or because I'm not Scottish or not of Scottish heritage? Like, there's those types of questions. Just being black, I'm assuming, or Indian or whatever, ethnicity you are, like, that would just add a different layer of those types of questions. It's the same types of questions, just a different twist on it.
I think it's a far more intense twist because basically,
I don't disagree.
Not necessarily Mr. Smith here, but I've run into guys online who've talked about, I'm black, I want to wear a kilt, and by the way, I actually do have Scottish heritage. That's a whole other aspect of the issue, but because I'm black, I'm worried that some racist fucktard, excuse my language, is going to say I'm appropriating his culture.
There are
I think
black people in Scotland. So
yes, there are, which is why. Sorry, I kind of get upset
the
about
Empire
this.
had distance.
There's actually around something like, I think it's like 3 to 5% of the population of Scotland is black.
Right.
And there have been black people in Scotland since the 18th century.
Yeah.
So, yes, and so, but the heritage claim is aside, because I think it's also, as we pointed out, like you just said, you don't have direct Scottish heritage. Yeah. You're passionate about the culture and you love it. I've known black guys who are into it because all three, either A, they've got Scottish ancestry, like my friend Montgomery. They're guys who are into it just because it's freaking awesome fashion statement. And they love it, and they're individualists. And third, I have people who are in it because it hit their vets or active service, and it hits the warrior vibe. And they have people who are also into it for the same reason. So there's an esprit de corps aspect to it. So it's the same as anybody else as far where your interest could be. It's just I hope that he is not hitting prejudice when he's out wearing a kilt. And I would really like to hear from other black guys out there who wear it and hear what your perspective is, because it's all over the map from what I've heard. It does depend on where you're at in the country. It depends on how old you are, all those kinds of factors. So.
I will say this from it's my perspective, but it's not a thing. It's not a problem. Just do it. It has nothing to do with the color or background of any individual needing to be of a certain thing to have permission to do a thing. If you're in America, you wear what the hell you want to wear. I decided that this is the kilt or I want to wear the kilt. I'm going to do it. And period. That's it. Who's going to tell me I can't? And if they do tell me I can't, do I care? Do I take that opinion on board? Do I let that ruin my day? No. I'm going to do what I want to do. So I hope that the people asking, and he said he wears a kilt, so he's gotten over the mental hurdle.
Well,
he's into it already.
Yeah.
My point is, I don't want anyone. I would feel bad if someone said, like, I want to, but I shouldn't. No, you should. If you want to do it, it's fine. Come on in. The water's fine. Mm-hmm. It's one of those things where, like, hockey had a phrase, a marketing phrase for hockey specifically. Hockey is for everybody. And it's like to get girls and women involved in the sport more and that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And so that's kind of how I feel about kilts. Kilts are for everybody. Like it helps if you're of Scottish extraction, but you don't have to be. You have to have an appreciation either for the culture or the garment or the fashion or all of it, but you don't have to come at it from one angle and only one angle.
Well, and I was going to say, we're getting up on a soapbox.
As we do.
And you didn't specifically ask us to get up on a soapbox about this. So if I'm overreaching, I apologize. It could be as simple as, wanting to know, are there other perspectives out there? I mean, in terms of like dealing with, if you have gatekeepers of any stripe, the talking points are usually going to be the same.
Yeah.
Like you just alluded. And you choose your battles, whether you're going to engage or not. But from a more positive side, I'd be interested to know in the United States, what are the stories for different guys who are wearing the kilt for whatever reason? How did they get into it? I have no solid numbers as to what the percentages are. I'd say a large percentage of the guys I know who are black who wear kilts do have some military background. So I think but that's very subjective.
I would actually let me bring it a different way as well.
Sure.
Off of the military thing, it's either they have a reason to wear it for they could be part Scottish. They could have part Scottish ancestry. Just because you're black doesn't mean you don't somewhere in the family tree way back when have somebody who's from Scotland.
Now.
Yeah, or now. And or they came to it through some kind of ancillary subculture, meaning Masons, if they're Scottish,
Sure,
right? Or if they're into nerd culture and in that kind of thing,
Yep.
or if it's a military thing. Like there's other ways to incorporate it
one.
in. Go ahead.
To
get interested.
in paganism.
Okay.
My friend Waylon, who is black, and he is actually a Norse pagan like myself, and he loves wearing kilts. He just thinks they're cool.
Yeah.
But that's it. I don't know. I'm trying not to get up on a soapbox enough, but I just
I'd say that there, as far as us as a company, I'm thinking like in the store, like what percentage, or at Celtic Classic or events where we're out in the public. And Mac, you've been to classics.
That's where I was kind of leaning, was Celtic Classic. We see people there of all different races, all different genders coming in and getting kilts from us. And the one couple that comes to mind, I believe she was Scottish, and was he from Puerto Rico?
The guy with the Loud McLeod kilt?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, he was doing it it was her thing, and he was like, I'm here.
I'm along for the ride. Let's go.
Let's rock out. Let's
party.
do this.
It's fun.
Yeah, it was like, let's go.
Yeah.
So, like, we see that, especially at festivals, we do see a little bit more because they want to join in. And everybody wants to join in the whole atmosphere of what's going on.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a friend in college, Sav. His family was from India. He's the one that wore a kilt out of the group all the time, but he did it because of his family. Some of his family was, again, part of the empire,
right?
Which they wore. They wore a kilt there, so he just continued it on. Now he's down south playing bluegrass music. So it's like it all comes around.
Yeah,
it's part of the beauty of America, the melting pot, the salad bowl, the stew that is this country.
Don't talk about food again.
I know. Sorry, I am still hungry. That's the beauty of it, is playing around with the different cultures and expressing and or celebrating different cultures, and it's okay. That's the beauty.
I'm curious about the numbers as someone with an anthropological background. I'm wondering about. I wish I could do a survey. It's like I'm wondering about geography and style and age and stuff like that. It's just all that kind of stuff. So I think that I mean, K&C is a great group, and that's the place to go if you want to reach out to people. He's already on there, from what I said.
Yeah.
So
you'll find your tribe, and to some degree, it's put it out there. Go out, and the more if you're curious about it, the more I'll say this. Since he brought up kilts and culture, since he's already in the group, since he's wondering about other guys that are black in the group, put out a post of you wearing your kilt in the group. The more representation that you see of that in the group, the more people will be like, "Oh, cool."
Do you know him? So let me know if
Didn't he say he was in the group?
Yeah, I'm just wondering if he has posted already. I'm assuming, Mark, if you're watching, I'm guessing you probably have posted photos already. But
I can think of like as much as I'm in the group, I can think of like at least 3 or 4 individuals who post quasi regularly.
Oh yeah,
black guys that post quasi regularly in the group. So they are there. Yeah. Cool. Excellent. Hope that helps, Mr. Mack.
Bring me your stories. I want to know the stories.
Yes.
All right. We got another question from Twitch.
All right,
So,
Twitch.
2 Twitch questions this week. Pyro Dancer 123. Do you have any tips for picking and styling a kilt for those who are non-binary or in the middle of the gender spectrum?
Style it.
Yeah. I'd say make it your own. Do what you would wear with normal everyday clothes outside of a kilt. I'd say incorporate it into your kilt outfit.
There are definitely certain style choices I've seen, especially younger folks who are non-binary, have taken on certain types of clothing and stuff. One is kind of those printed shirts that I see a lot, and I don't think those would look great with a tartan kilt. Not gonna lie.
Printed tartan shirt?
No. They're prints with like it's like a Hawaiian shirt, but it's a smaller print size. They're not necessarily tropical. I'm trying to think of a good way. They're like camp shirts, but not. I can't. I know people who could tell you what they're called, but I can't remember the name of the print. But anyway, very popular with the kids, especially the non-binary folks. And yeah, I mean, there's not so much an exact way to do it. You could play around with the length a bit if you're trying to step away from the solidly masculine silhouette, the way we describe it, which is usually to the knee. You can, if you want to veer it more onto the feminine side of the spectrum, then possibly go shorter, but I would say go longer. Try maybe a little bit below the knee if you want to tinker with it that way. But like we say with everybody else, it's kind of about the accessories that go with the kilt. Look crisp and put together. Don't wear printed shirts with a kilt. It just doesn't usually work out well.
Doesn't ever work out well. I'm not going to sugarcoat that one. Hell
Yeah.
no. Please, God, don't do that. No.
Yeah, I mean, it's that's basically it. I mean, I know there's people out there who can give more boots on the ground advice than I can about what they do, but it usually comes down to accessorizing. And gods know there's enough flag color pins and stuff out there you could use. If you want to go that way, you could use like the non-binary flag colors on a kilt pin or something. Or other stuff. So depends on how on the nose you want to be, or if it is what kind of event you're going to, which is what we say to everybody. Also, it's context matters. So
Yeah.
I tend to think non-binary vibes tend to be a little bit on the nerdy side, and I don't mean nerdy like I went to Comic-Con, all I got was this lousy t-shirt. No, I mean nerdy as in like
Androgynous-ish?
sweater. Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's literally androgynous. So it's like polos buttoned up, sweater vests, things like that. Yeah. I don't know if I'm helping or not.
Yeah, I think we are.
That's, yeah.
We're helping.
Tend to think a
I'm helping.
little bit more on the academic side and the nerdy side of things.
Yeah.
Veer a little bit towards the dark academia kind of a side of things. So.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Very good. Eric.
Sure. Hey, that worked pretty well. I gotta figure out like a cool martial arts way to open up my glasses.
We need a sound effect for it.
It's not. It has to be.
As they break and fly across the room. Whoops.
Although I would also accept a steel kind of shing, kind of a.
Fair. A sword or a scissor sound, as Patrick would love
Yes.
to put in there.
Vanya Tukarov says, for an event where you're wearing formal Highland dress,
Okay.
would you ever find it acceptable to substitute something like a Fairburn Sykes dagger? That is the traditional British commando knife, by the way, for a traditional dirk, since they are similar in function, design, length, even if the FS dagger is much less anachronistic. So would you wear a vintage World War II classic combat dagger instead of a dirk as part of formal Highland dress? This gets down to the balance between you do you and bowing to tradition.
Yeah. In my mind, it's the. Do we have a picture of the knife or no? Reloaded.
I did not
No.
ask for
Okay.
that.
So we don't have a picture of it, but it's
I'm willing to bet most of these guys out here know what they are.
Yeah.
But
So, in my mind, I wouldn't do it from an aspect of it looks the dirk, as worn on the belt, is very specific. It's a very specific part of the Highland dress outfit for formal. I would venture to say it's not really worn anymore that much for formal. Maybe less than 1% of the time.
guys in British regiments or pipe bands,
Yeah, it's
pipe majors.
Yeah, it's really not worn. And so I would, if there's something that is that that much of a signature piece, so to speak, that is already not worn, trying to substitute something different that isn't the thing, kind of, it's neither fish nor fowl. It's not the right thing. Therefore, I wouldn't do it. If it was, let's say you're trying to substitute a smaller, a fixed blade knife instead of a ski and do. Now, that I might give a little bit of a pass because it's 90% tucked in the sock, and maybe you really want something functional where most ski and do's are like letter opener kind of blades. Or if you want to have a little bit of something different with your kilt pin as opposed to an actual kilt pin, maybe give it a little bit of a pass to it there. But when I think doing something that is wholly different, it's too far off. It's mixing things that aren't really close enough to be mixed. To me, it's less personal style and more it's not right vibe to it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because I think what we're talking about here is that the things you mentioned are more subtle.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there are very beautiful handcrafted ski-and-dos out there, and there are knives that have a beautiful handle, which are proportionally right and comfortable. You could actually wear it as a ski-and-do, and that's okay. And we've talked about alternate kilt pins and the fact that kilt pins have actually changed a lot over the decades, so you can kind of get away with that. But this is taking something which is nobody's used a dirk as a dirk for 250 years. Okay,
They had to defend themselves at the altar.
Yeah, or it's a nod to the hunting traditions. So you have Victorian era dirks, which are hunting knives, with the smaller knives in them and the fork, all the time. It's a nod to that ancestry of the clothing. I mean, there's a reason why it's part of national dress. It is largely symbolic. And no, not many people wear them. I think you either look very, very much, I'm dressed up now, like you're a bagpiper or you're an honor guard of some kind. Again, British military. Or if you don't do it very carefully, you're going to wind up you're going to look like a caricature, Ren Fair. So I think the problem with wearing another kind of large knife, and let's be clear here, these knives are smaller than a dirk. It is a combat knife. Hey, we got one. That looks almost identical to the one that I inherited from my dad. It's not as long as a dirk. It's not as hefty as a dirk. It's going to look like, I like this knife. I decided to wear this knife.
Yeah,
And
I'm a knife guy.
I'm a knife guy. And I want you all to know that I'm a knife guy. I just don't find it aesthetically pleasing, frankly. And I think it's kind of, you're really on the edge of, if it was a memento, like if your grandfather was in the SAS, or something, or was fighting with the resistance in France in World War II, your great grandfather or something, and you're wearing it for that reason. Okay, but how often are you going to explain that to everybody? If that's the case, and it's gonna look odd. So I personally cannot recommend it.
Yeah, it's gonna look out of place. It's gonna look especially if the rest of the outfit looks well put together. Prince Charlie, or formal regimental double or something. It's a very, very well put together outfit, and then one piece that's what's going on there? So it just takes a left turn, and it just looks off. So it's either caricature or it just looks like you didn't know what you were doing. And if the rest of the outfit looks good, why compromise the rest of the outfit and be like, why did he do that? Or that looks weird. I don't know why I'm talking like Owen Wilson now. Oh, wow.
And there are decorative versions of that dagger out there. I mean, there are some of the brass hilts and stuff, so maybe you could do that if you had like a pretty one. But my first instinct, if I saw someone wearing that with even semi-formal to formal Highland dress, would be they looked at pictures of Highland dress and they look at pictures of guys, especially old-timey pictures, like, oh, I'm supposed to have a knife. I don't have one of those dirk things. I do have this. Yeah. I'm supposed to wear a knife, so I'll use this. So it can smack of trying too hard.
That's literally when, as you started talking, I'm like, yeah, that's where I'm going to go next. It looks like he's trying too hard. Or it looks like I didn't know what I was doing, and I just shoved this thing in because it's close enough.
I shoved this dagger in.
Yeah. Yeah. It's too much is too much. And I think that's where I would, it's already something that you don't really wear. I had a dress dirk that I brought to my wedding. I didn't wear it for the wedding. We used it just to cut the cake as a nod to tradition, as a nod to the symbolism of it, and that kind of thing.
It just looks fun.
Yeah. And it's a knife. Who doesn't want to have a knife? But I didn't try to wear it, and because it wouldn't have really worked well, so I didn't feel the need to wear it. I just kind of had it there. Yeah. If you're wearing it, if it means something to you, I'll give you that suggestion. If it means something to you because it was passed down in the family or whatever, and you want to incorporate it into a wedding ceremony because that's the formal event, great. Then put it at the cake table and use that to cut the cake. Therefore, you're including it into the ceremony. You're stabbing that cake. It's going to die. But
just keep it with the meat cutting table. Not
exactly. Yes, exactly. The
carving station.
Yeah, carving station chef out there with He's got his beret on and the black face paint for the SAS. Yeah, indeed. No, not quite. But yes.
Yeah,
The angriest cutting station chef ever. I've seen things, man.
Well, it's therapeutic.
Yeah, it's fair.
Yeah, it's just like take all your aggressions out on the meat and then relax, enjoy the rest of the recipe.
Exactly.
No. You have a dagger. You have one of these daggers for each member of the wedding party, and they just eat the meat off the tip of the dagger. There you go.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, whether you're wearing a dirk or a dagger or carrying a batleth around, you're not going to be using it for anything. It's just there for show. So, yeah, I mean, you do you from an aesthetic standpoint, and from a honoring the national dress standpoint, I don't think I would recommend it.
Agreed.
Wash day.
You do you, but if you want to do it, don't be you. Be somebody else who doesn't want to do it.
Unless you can be Batman.
Always be Batman. Yes.
Which reminds me,
Always be Batman.
always be Batman. We will have a new content piece coming out in a few weeks, God's willing, on the top Celtic-inspired comic books out there. Idea that came up because talking about like gift-giving season and stocking stuffers and things like that. It's like, we should think about something a little lighter, more on the fun side. So
Excellent.
look for that this month.
Yes. We'll do one more from Mac, then I want to do the semicircle question.
Sir, yes, sir.
Mr. Mac.
All right, so we have a question from Adam. Not this Adam, a different Adam. Just curious, but why do most kilt buckles seem to have sharp, pointy-ish corners? As a guy with a little bit of a belly, it seems there's always at least one corner that's digging into me somewhere.
The pro tip, don't get a star buckle with the point on the top.
Oh, no.
Oh,
Yeah.
Geez, I had back in my 20s, I had like several like big honking,
I remember
belt
those
buckles and
big back in the
like
90s,
skull
yeah.
buckles and like cool buckles.
Yep.
I had one big star buckle, like nautical star thing with the point straight up, and I remember every time I like sat down, just the big belly hanging over, like, oh, that hurts. I'm not gonna wear this anymore.
Were you emo? I think those buckles is an emo thing back then.
Yeah, like punk rock, like metalish kind of vibe to it. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, I digress. The sort of.
So what else is there?
Yeah, it's kind of what we do. Yeah, I'd say buckles tend to have, especially more contemporary buckles, have, at least the ones that we design, tend to have pointier edges from it's sharper, it's more masculine, it's got like some aggro vibe to it to some degree. We don't sharpen them on purpose, but the swoopier, softer knots tend to feel, at least to me as designer of such things, a bit more feminine. That's why I never really dug on the Triscale as a knot, because it feels more feminine versus more angular knots feel a little bit more angry or tribal or masculine. Is that vibe-wise make sense?
Yeah, like a British commando dagger.
Exactly.
Yeah,
worn
pointy.
as a dirk. Yeah.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Yes, I think it's a challenge because kilt buckles for a long time were just very generic rectangular things. So the first thing you think about when you're trying to upgrade things and make it fresh is how can we think literally outside the box with these designs. But yes, it is a challenge. I think more recent designs, we're trying to like mitigate it. So like if there's points, they're going more out rather than straight up, or at angles. Other designers may not think that way, but we are aware that it is a challenge.
Yeah. And I would say the point where it should be, the point, no pun intended, where it should be a little bit less of a problem is the kilt belt should be worn around your belly button, around the widest part of you. It's not worn under the belly. If you wear it under the belly, then yes, the pointy tops and bottom corners kind of stab and poke at you. But if you're wearing it around the widest part of you, it shouldn't really, hurt as you're moving about too much. Now, if you have the old Dunlop disease, where your belly Dunlopped over the belt, then I guess it could be a little bit, but then maybe you wear the belt up a little bit higher so that it doesn't go over, it's around the widest part.
Well, there's also whether you're a squishy fat guy or a hard fat guy.
Yeah.
So squishy fat, it might be less comfortable in some ways. This is kind of middle of the road. The eagle, this is where we started to think about, it's got the points on the tips of the eagle
Feathers.
Wings, and they do look badass. But at the same time, the middle of the buckle, which could have been sharper angle is more rounded. So, yeah, it is. All I can say is it is a fact. It can be a challenge with designs. We are aware of it.
Yes, indeed.
Like with the drinking horns buckle. You went back
Yeah,
and forth
yeah,
about that one.
yeah. We rounded the top on our most recent buckle. What did we call that buckle? The Viking toasting buckle thing.
Yeah.
It's on our website somewhere. Anyway, the top corners we had it rounded out a little bit, just specifically to try to get away from that a tiny bit without going too round and too swoopy. Swoopy. I don't like swoopy.
Schwippy.
Yes, swoopy. So, indeed, if you have an idea for a belt buckle, put it down below. All right, Eric.
Crossed commando daggers.
Indeed. All right, we'll do at least one
They're
more
actually
question, if
real
not
daggers.
one
You
more.
you can poke them out. They're kind of like fondue
Indeed.
forks.
Like you have the Deadpool baby knife.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So, last question of the night, ladies and gentlemen, and others.
Depends on how fast we get it done.
Bill Marshall asked, why is there a small bit of hem, kind of like a half moon hem, on the left and right sides of a kilt on the selvage edge? Shouldn't the material just lay flat? You will have to describe what he's talking about. I know
Sure.
you don't understand it better than I do.
Sure. Okay. So, on a kilt, on the deep pleat, on the first pleat on the kilt. So, here's my front apron. It ends right there. And then this is essentially the return on the front apron is there. And you'll see this
There it is.
semicircle kind of weirdly hemmed up right along that area. So, that weird little hem bit is done on purpose. That is so when you wear the kilt and you iron it and everything goes flat, it doesn't stick down. Zoom back in there, Adam. It doesn't stick down below the bottom of the front apron. So here's the front apron right here. Here's the bottom. This is the back side, by the way. And then there's the bottom of the little angled part. If this part right here was not that semicircle moon thing, if it didn't do that, it would be up an extra half inch or so, and then it would stick out below the bottom of the kilt.
Yeah.
So we do that on the first deep pleat on the front apron, and then when warranted, like it is in this one as well, we do it on the last reverse pleat on the other side of the apron. So we do that on purpose, and all kilt makers, frankly, do that on purpose so that those deep pleats do not stick down below the bottom of the apron. So the bottom of the kilt is the bottom of the kilt. You don't have this weird little triangle sticking down and people going, what's that thing? It's there on purpose so that the front of your kilt is much more like clean, straight, flat
Symmetrical.
looking at the bottom.
Yeah, flat all around.
Yeah. Mac, any thoughts outside of that as other kilt maker in room?
No, I mean, it's pretty much said what it is. I mean, I always find it interesting when people call in or email in and be like, I think your machine had an issue.
Yeah, this looks wrong.
yeah.
What happened there? Why is it like that? Yeah.
So there's only maybe been like one person I think there's like, no, I don't want it there. I definitely don't want it there. And you're gonna have a little corner hangout. Like it's
gonna look dumb.
But
Yeah.
yeah. Once most people when they hear the explanation,
It's the
oh, that makes sense.
Yep. So you can actually unpick those stitches and lay it back down and make it flat, and then it will stick down below the bottom of the apron, and then you can sew it back up.
When you realize it looks like.
Yeah, when you realize it doesn't look good. Exactly. All right, Mr. Mack, do we have anything else? Do we want to sneak one more question
Do we
in?
have the question of the day?
Oh, the question of the day, which
I completely remember exactly what the question of the day
we
was.
remembered to
It
talk
was, in
about.
fact, what would you like to see become a trend in Highland wear?
It's a good thing we are so on the ball with these questions of the day things. We never forget these at all. All right, so
Not us.
we had the question earlier in the show. We want your opinion on it. If there was one thing that you would like to see become a trend in Highland wear, whether it's high level or just an accessory piece, let us know in the comments. Let us know through email, through pigeon, carrier pigeon, whatever. Tell us in every single way possible. Skywriting is key. What you would like to see be included in Highland wear.
As a
good
lasting trend, not just a fad, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, something you think
Yeah.
would just be so cool it should become bog standard.
Or we'll
Or
flip
not.
that as well and say, Or what's the thing that's part of Highland wear that you're like, I hate this one single thing
Right.
that needs to
Right.
get axed. That needs to go.
I already know
First
what mine
comment,
is.
daggers.
First comment, daggers. Exactly.
Daggers.
Yes. SAS daggers, not in Highland wear.
But
Agreed.
you have to have them hidden on your purses. So arm sheets on it.
See, if you have the sleeves in the Inverness cape, you'd be able to pull daggers out from the sleeves.
See?
All right,
Okay.
Before this devolves into a fight with
late.
daggers, we need to end the show.
My idea was completely different. Platform ghillie brogues.
Why? I got
With
nothing.
little Loch Ness monsters in the bottoms.
Or whiskey.
Yeah.
You just unscrew your heel and get a nip. Hey,
So-
you pay us for
It's
this.
so hard to find good help these days. If anyone wants a job, let me know.
Oh, ouch. That
No,
stung.
I could never replace.
Damn.
I could never replace you, Mac.
Wait,
All right.
what does that mean?
Love you guys. All right. Until next time, boys and girls.